What's up, Vloggy Pilots? Vloggy Poncho here, and I'm in a good mood for once. Can you tell? Basically, I'm not drunk yet either. I've just started my drink. But, I'm happy for real good reasons. Real legitimate reasons. And it's really kind of strange. Like, I'm at the point now where being in a really good mood is something I notice. Because it's rare now. But, oh man, today I just got back, as you can possibly guess from my tacky shirt with no undershirt. I just got back from bowling. How many of you could have guessed if I had said, what sport did I just play? Everyone would have said bowling, right? Because this is not, like, you can't play baseball in a shirt like this. You can't play football. It's gotta be bowling. Plus it's late at night. But you can't tell it's late at night. Anyway. I just got back from bowling, and I've gone bowling with a coworker of mine and with a group of coworkers, I guess, three times now. And I went bowling by myself one time as well. And I'm finally at the point where I'm really starting to enjoy it, because I'm getting to be halfway decent. When you first learn something new, like especially a sport, you're so terrible at the beginning that it's hard to have fun. But once you've done it a few times, you get enough skill that even though you're not going to beat very many people, you're playing well enough that you're not frustrated with yourself. And I've reached that point in bowling now, and it's very satisfying. I have a pattern. I'm going to show you my pattern. Okay. Kind of hard to see, I guess, but anyway, I'm going to try and go like, I don't know if I should go this way or I should go towards the camera. Oh, towards the camera. So I have a pattern now where I know where my right foot goes, and I line that up, and I have the ball. I do bring the ball when I go bowling, so it's important to bring the ball with you when you go up there to try and knock down the pins. Without it, it's just pretty much impossible. So I have the ball, and I know, okay, I have three things I think. 4 steps, look at the board that I want, and then quarter turns, like 4 steps, board, quarter turn. And what that reminds me to do is to take 4 steps. So I go like right foot first, 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one is the release. And on the first step I just go, and the second step I start bringing the ball down. And then board. There's arrows a quarter of the way down a bowling lane, and so I have a certain spot that I like to look. Because counterintuitively, you bowl more consistently, and that's what's satisfying about this, is that it's consistent. You bowl more consistently looking at the arrows a quarter of the way down than if you're looking at the pins that are really far away. Which is counterintuitive to me because, like in ping pong, you know where the ball's going to be, and so you look where you want it to go, which is like all the way. And when you're driving, you want to look far enough down the road that you can plan for curves and turns and anticipate hazards. So like looking where you want to go is like the standard in sports, right? If you're going to look at if you're a pitcher in baseball, you're not going to look at the ground a quarter of the way to the batter. You're going to look at the batter. And so when you bowl, you think, I got to look at the pins, right? It's common sense, but it doesn't work. Like if they're too far away or something, it's no consistency there. So you look at the arrows that are a quarter of the way there. And so I have a certain spot that I look at. It's the board right in between the middle arrow and the next arrow to the right. So it's just barely off to the right of center. And then last step is quarter turn. I have thumb out first, and then quarter turn, and then fingers out, just like that. So every time, trying to do that same motion. It's like I'm getting to the point where it's becoming muscle memory. And so I'm in a good mood, not only because I'm getting a little better at bowling, but because I don't know, it's like I had a terrible day at work today. Like most days now, I was frustrated to even be there. And then I came home, I ate healthy foods. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then I watched some comedians on YouTube. I didn't get drunk. I got just relaxed. And then I went out and hung out with a friend and started to get good at bowling. It's like, this was like the best day I've had in like 2 or 3 months. It's just, other than when I was on vacation, this is the best day that I had, like the best work day that I can remember in the past few months at least. It's just, it's so great. Man. Okay, so 2 things I gotta talk about. The previous video and healthy foods. I'll do the previous video next. First, healthy foods. So I went grocery shopping today. I left work a little early to go and get my groceries. And I tend to have a bad habit of buying junk when I go grocery shopping, and I'm really trying to break that because I've found that junk food is just so dissatisfying or so it's like empty. I don't know. It's like junk food is like casual sex. It leaves you with dirty hands. No, it's like in the moment you're like this is great, and then the next day you're like why did I eat the whole thing? You know. I kind of lost it with eating the whole thing there, but you get the metaphor. It's great in the moment, but then afterwards, meh. So like if you get a bag of Doritos, you could like the big bags. You could sit, watch a football game, and eat that entire bag by yourself, just subconsciously while you're watching TV and not even enjoy a single Dorito. And then the next day, it's like, well, I ate 800 calories of Doritos yesterday, and I don't even remember eating them. So it's just totally empty. It's empty food. Empty calories, I think, is the actual term people use. Whereas wholesome foods, even if you don't remember it, it's like a net positive. Because it's good for you, and if you enjoy eating it or not, it's still good for you. So at least you got the fact that it's healthy. So even if you eat your food as casually and non-committally as I do, which is to eat it without tasting it, is a terrible habit that I'm in. Even then, it's still good because it's healthy. Whereas junk food, if you eat it and don't enjoy it, what's the point? So for dinner today, I came home, after I went grocery shopping, I made a point to try and buy like only healthy things. I didn't put any junk food in the cart. No snacks, basically. I'm trying to eliminate snacking because it's way too many calories extra in my day. But, so no snacks. I didn't buy any Doritos. Even the snacks that don't seem bad, like chips and salsa, it's just empty carbs in those chips. And, I'm ready to devise something really bad. Like last week I ate donuts. I bought a 6-pack of donuts from Kroger. But they're not even hot and fresh. And they're like 300 calories a donut. It's just scary. Another thing I have to talk about after the next video. Anyway, so for dinner, I had an apple, a banana, and some peanut butter. And it was tasty. I enjoyed it. And it had enough fiber that, like, 5 hours later, I'm not hungry. No, actually, 6 hours later, I'm not hungry. So, it's perfect. It's because it's low calorie, but it's fruits and vegetables is what I'm trying to do. And I really have a problem eating fruits. I'm not in the habit of buying and eating fruits. Vegetables I do okay because a lot of the stir fries and things I add onions and green peppers, which actually have a surprising amount of nutrients in them. And then other things actually surprisingly healthy, like jalapenos have vitamin C, like more concentrated than oranges do. But then again, you're not going to eat that much jalapeno. So I'm trying to get in the habit of eating more fruit. So I saw on Facebook actually, Maple posted that she found the brand of apples that we ate in New Zealand. She found them at Kroger. And I was like, what? And so I had to go get some. And sure enough, they're as delicious as ever. I think they're called Pacific Rose apples. They're not rosy colored at all. They're not dark red. I guess roses aren't always dark red. But anyway, when I think rose, I think of like lipstick red. They're sort of a lighter yellow. It's like if you painted them yellow and then you put red on top of that. Which doesn't make orange. I don't know how to describe colors, I'm not an artist, but it's like yellow underneath and then red on top, like stippling and blotches and stuff. But they have a crisp skin, and they're sweet and juicy. They're just like the perfect apple, basically. So I have one of those with whatever old bananas we have. Did you know that bananas are pretty much all clones of each other? The banana tree that's used industrially now, for making commercial bananas, like Chiquita and whatever other brands you know, they're all basically genetically identical. And so any two bananas come from a tree that's pretty much a clone of every other banana tree in the United States. And in South America. They're all pretty much the same. And that's why they're all so consistent. But that's also why there's not different kinds of bananas, like there are different kinds of apples. Fact of the day! So that's healthy food, which it was tasty and satisfying, and I feel full 6 hours later, so it's perfect. And then next thing is, I guess I'll continue on the calorie stuff, and I'll go to the previous video after this. It's crazy how people talk about diet and exercise. Like, if you want to lose weight, all you have to do is diet and exercise. And I'm convinced it's like 85% diet. People make it sound like it's, just jog a little, eat a little less, you'll be fine. I think so much of it is diet. Because I went bowling tonight, and supposedly if you're bowling with 2 or less people, you burn like 250 calories an hour bowling. Which makes sense. You're taking a 15-pound ball and hurling it 60 feet over and over again. That's going to burn calories. I still feel warm from bowling. Yeah, that's why I didn't wear an undershirt.
That and I'm a sexy guy. I'm not even gonna. Nope, I won't subject you to that. So 250 calories an hour. I was there for 2 hours. I played 7 games. And top score, which someone's probably gonna ask, 104. So not great, but I think out of those 7 games, 5 of them were like 85 or higher. So it's getting consistent. I just need to get a little more strikes and spares. Anyway, so 250 calories an hour. After that, I decided to go get donuts. I'd eat 2 donuts. And those 2 donuts have more calories than I burnt in the 2 hours I was bowling. It's like so quickly, I would lose everything I had gained. It's like now I understand why Fit always talks about gains. It's all about gains, and it's so easy to lose your gains. Because 1 donut is like almost 300 calories you get from Krispy Kreme, the kind I like with the filling. And then 250 calories for bowling, like 1 donut is an hour's worth of work. Which bowling is not hard exercise, so there are other things, but you see my point. It's so quickly, there's so many calorie-dense foods that you can lose your exercise calories lost very quickly. So it's like 85% diet. And again, it goes back to how much do you enjoy that? Do you enjoy eating that donut enough for it to be worth it to undo an hour of exercise? And for me, the answer is no. I like donuts, but I don't like them enough. I don't like them that much. Okay, final topic. The previous video. I'm going to try not to get drunk and make vlogs anymore because I used to be a laid-back drunk, but the past, I'm kind of ashamed to say this, but the past 3 or 4 weeks, every time I get drunk, I get angry, and that's bad. It's because with my frustration about my work environment, I have this just anger that's kind of always below the surface, and when I get drunk, it's just like, fuck! I don't hide it anymore. So it's, that was a little tough. So in that video when I talked about dating and the douchebags win, nice guys finish last and all that, I don't want to backpedal. And at one point I was considering deleting the video, taking it down, but one of the reasons I have this vlog is so that I can look at these videos in the future and see if I've changed my mind about things. And I hope that when I watch that one several months from now, I'm just going to be like, I was so wrong. But right now, I still don't really feel like I was wrong in anything that I said. I may have exaggerated a little bit because I was drunk. But the gist of it is that, of course, that was the first video I've ever had where there was a real firestorm in the comments because it was very clear that there were 2 sides. People who thought I was an asshole and people who thought I was right. And I've never been that polarizing before. It was not comfortable for me. But, as it happens sometimes. I should make another video about religion. We can get even more polarized. Let's not. Let's just don't. And so, I still think that if it's about getting a date or getting action or short-term dating and that kind of thing, the overly aggressive douchebag model is surprisingly effective, and it makes me sad that it is. Of course, in the long term, you want a meaningful connection with someone, and no amount of showboating and frame control and negging and anything like that is going to translate into long-term potential in a relationship. And I know that. It's just frustrating because, mostly because I'm on OkCupid. I'm on a dating site. And I guess I have completely flawed assumptions because in the past, the only people I've ever dated are people that I've gotten to know as friends first. I mean, that's actually never occurred to me that I've gotten out of the friend zone 6 times. I never thought of it as an accomplishment. It just seemed normal to be friends with someone and get to know them. And then once you get to know them, you realize, I have feelings for this person. And you can't have, at least in my mind, feelings for someone unless you know something about them. Because any less than that, it's purely a physical attraction, which is garbage in the long term. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it helps, but it's not enough. And so my pattern of becoming friends with someone and then dating them, if I, don't want to, or whatever, if the chemistry is there, it doesn't work on an online dating site because people lose track, people get bored. You don't want to, on a dating site, it's all about getting a lot of people in your vision. And you don't want to have 100 friendships to see which one becomes someone you want to date. you want to have 100 first dates and see which one feels like a good date. And that's totally outside of what I'm used to. And so I expect to be sending messages back and forth for like a week or two before we actually meet in person. And apparently the normal number is like 5 messages and then you have a date. I'm like, damn. I could not write you a 5-paragraph essay that would say everything I want to say to someone before I go on a date with them. And it's totally weird for me. And the truth is, in that short-term model where you have like 3 messages and 3 replies before you like ask them out on a date, being aggressive and funny and like putting on airs is the most successful way to go. Being your normal self, being totally genuine and legitimate is not going to have the shazam, the pizzazz that is going to create a spark in 3 messages. And it's really weird for me to look at this and go like, my usual approach doesn't work. It reminds me of that XKCD comic where he tries to do all the different calculations with the heart in it. It's like, my usual approach is useless here. I think is what the text says. But link in the description, which I'll forget to put, but it'll be there eventually. And so I was a little frustrated with that when I made that video, because on dating sites at least, it is the case that the more aggressive and pushy you are, the more likely you are to go on that first date. And then, like, of course, something else can happen if the first date doesn't happen. And whether it's a long-term relationship or casual sex, you have to meet at some point. And so I'm adjusting to that. I'm changing my tactics a little bit. I'm not being an asshole, but I am trying to be more funny than I usually am. I'm considering my first message to someone kind of like the titles for my YouTube videos. I need to think about it for like a minute to make sure that it's interesting and funny. Because if it's just a normal-ass message, like, hi, I'm Trevor, how you doing? They're just going to look at like, no, like, you giving me nothing. I got nothing to work with here. Whereas if I make a joke or if I reference something on the profile or whatever else, it seems like, oh, okay, no, I'll be a little bit clever. And it feels disingenuous because I'm not that clever all the time. No way. I mean, the stuff that you see in YouTube videos is like the funniest I am, like throughout most of the day. Occasionally I'll crack a joke at work, usually in social situations, like a sitcom kind of joke. But the YouTube videos, it's so concentrated, I can put the humor in there. And I'm not used to trying to force humor or cleverness or whatever into my conversations. And it's mentally taxing, and I'm just kind of, and it feels gamey. It feels misleading, but that's what you got to do to get people interested in you with only 3 messages. So I'm adjusting, trying to keep my head on straight. But yeah, if at any point in my video the other day I seemed like I was talking down to women, I apologize. That's not my intention. It was just I'm frustrated. Really, it's like every guy says. I'm frustrated when I see people that I consider to be assholes more successful at something than me, like whatever it is. And when it's dating, it's particularly spiny because you see these people and you think, how can she not see what an asshole he is? Like, if I was a girl, I wouldn't even give him my number. Like, I wouldn't say hello back. I just look at him and be like, your shirt collar's popped up. Get the fuck away from me. Yeah. Whatever. But, yeah, so I was just drunk and mad. Anyway, had a great day today bowling. Positive attitude. Trying to eat healthy. A grocery shopping trip was totally healthy food, so I'm going to try and keep on that. And, let's have some happy thoughts in the comments. Post some happy thoughts down in the comments, and I'll post a link to that XKCD comic in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.